Ah, yes. Hello. Wonderful people and individuals of the world out there before me. I find you incredible, and I want you to know that. And that's just how we're going to start. So, with that being said, where are we going with this talk? Today, I think we'll speak about some of my journeys with mushrooms. Just in a candid sense, nothing too serious, but very deliberate. Now, I, as a mushroom user who's gone in quite deep, um, would have to say that holy shit, what a fucking ride that can be. I've had experiences ranging from extremely pleasant and enhancing to sheerly overloading. That's I've been there. What also was wild is um I've many okay the thing is I've been a psychedelic user probably for over 10 years. Some of the places you get brought to, I genuinely think there's just like optimization and body chemistry that can occur that definitely enhances the experience. Uh, those people that are capable of taking care of themselves properly and um, going through that experience, I think will benefit the most. I just want to I just want to say that. So that's a thing, but I've gone everywhere from uh, falling into time. I've fallen into time is the way that I could describe that experience. Um, uh, Going just really quickly into it because this one's wild. Literally, I would hear people speaking, but it was like I could hear every interaction of that speech throughout my brain until it actually like reached my brain. And because I was able to perceive all of it, it felt like time was slowing down at an incredible rate because of the way I was processing everything. It was surreal. Um, I've also felt like I've had entire parts of my brain and um, self shift in the same way. Easiest to describe would be something like Hogwarts, the school with the shifting staircases and all that fuck around. I've had that sort of experience. One of the more deep experiences that I've had, which I will refer to always as the Rite of the Phoenix, was when I basically felt like I was dying over and over again. And I myself have some trauma issues that I felt. And unfortunately, even despite this experience, I still sort of feel, but they're not there anywhere near as much. But the thing is, with this traumatic experience, part of me has wanted to die, and so, uh, uh, sorry about being so abrupt with this. Welcome to being a psychonaut. I just this is just living for me. So anyway, I apologize if anybody's bothered, but during this experience, though, I basically felt like I could only keep dying and keep coming back. And so during this specific psychedelic experience, there was no way for me to actually die. In a way, specifically for me, dying only brought me back here. And so to me, death no longer became an escape. It truly lost its meaning because internally there was a part of me that genuinely felt if I were to die, I would simply just come back here. I understood this was a very small period of thought and all this, and I didn't, I'm not trying to focus on it and allow it to obliterate every part of my being, but with psychedelics and how strong you take these things, you have to remember, those that are curious, um, you don't get to necessarily choose how you react to the experience. There are people, as an example, that do not like to be on roller coasters, and a psychedelic is 100% basically like the mind version of a roller coaster. So, unless you want to work through a lot of things without any sort of experience prior, I'd be cautious. Yeah, that was one experience. I've also had some stuff happen where clearly visually, right? Like visuals and stuff, that stuff's been pretty cool. My favorite things are when the edges of stuff start what I would call dancing. I'd see swirls within the edges of things. So if there's like a hard corner or like a hard definitive line between two things, you start seeing them sort of dance. Blank spaces become magnificent, and then things like blankets become beautiful. Now, at that level, though, you want to make sure that you're definitely drinking water. I myself, as a alcoholic and someone who doesn't tend to their body as well as they should, has suffered from these experiences because. Also, I should let you know, if you are taking mushrooms, as well as acid or anything psychedelic, really, actually any drug, make sure you're drinking water, particularly with psychedelics and whatnot. You want to make sure you're consuming enough water because your body is going to consistently gauge itself on how it's feeling with its water content. And if it starts not having enough, um, it'll be your body will become concerned. And if you're all gorked in your head, you're not going to understand necessarily that it's water that you need, perhaps. Some psychonauts, like myself on occasion, try to write little notes to myself, like a little board, and the board is sort of like a mantra board throughout the trip where it's like, hey, remember to drink water, remember that you're on drugs, you took it at this time, and then the expected dose time to taper off is around here. So you can, if you're concerned, you have something very solid to reflect upon. Many people try to like think that they're like, oh yeah, I'll just be able to know a time. I'll be able to come off and I'll be fine. No, it's not going to work like that if you're gorked on fucking 5 grams of shrooms and you haven't been used to it. And all of a sudden you're time looping from 4:30 to like 6:30 p.m., right? And you're like, when am I going to get off of this ride, man? It's not how it works. So respectfully to anybody that's ever been there, but um yeah, just don't try to dive into psychedelic experiences willy-nilly. As someone who's been through some wild shit, one of the things you also have to acknowledge is that the reason why I wanted to go through these wild experiences is because I myself understand the very weird and deep things and thoughts that I have inside myself. These are things that I accept and understand very well. I'm not bothered by them. And so to go through these experiences aren't something that surprise me or make me feel strange or alienated in a way any more than I already do feel alienated from the rest of society, which is just a part of my experience. That's just a thing. um, sure, it sounds like I'm speaking well right now, and usually I do speak well, but that doesn't mean that my thoughts are consistently well and that I'm able to, you know, out in public simply be a person has any sort of bearing or hold on any sort of conversation. I don't know where the fuck I'm going with that. I'm gonna shut up there. Anyway, the point is that psychedelics are a very unique experience, and I think that people should treat them with kindness, respect, um, and yeah, I have dove into them because I was pretty of a mind that would allow me to traverse those spaces. Let's put it that way. I've been through several states of mind that I'm not so concerned about being in several states of mind, right? As an example, one time unfortunately, I took shrooms very close to each other in terms of time. Don't do that. Do not ever consume shrooms like within a week. Like, don't consume shrooms in the same week if you're doing anything that's like a significant dose. Um, from one psychonaut to another, don't do that. You will not have a good experience at all, is what I would say. Um, this time for me specifically, though, I took it in the morning. I'm pretty sure I was dehydrated. And there were kids running around outside. Oh, I'm sorry. There were kids running around outside my window. I live on the bottom floor. And there was also construction happening. And during a mushroom trip, hearing both of these things constantly going on just outside of your frame wasn't pleasant or easy to deal with, and I ended up with an actual bout of paranoia. Like, truthfully, what I would call paranoia for one of my first times. It was not pleasant. So, to anybody that has ever felt paranoia, that was literally probably my one experience, truthfully, of like being proper paranoid. It did not feel good. It just felt like there was just this thing constantly pulling at me in a not good way. Yeah. So that was an experience, but that was also when we refer to things like set and setting, you gotta respect that shit if you're talking about psychedelics. You can't just play games with stuff like that. It's really silly that people do. Um, right? Like if you're gonna take a psychedelic and go out partying, know who you're partying with and know very much about the dose you're taking. Don't just buy acid for the first time, take a tab, and go to a party. That is a recipe for not good things, in my opinion. And I don't think it would be advisable to do that. What you would really want to do is sit down, experience this thing. Basically, what you would want to do is refer. It's what's called bioassaying. You're trying to understand the experience of the drug. So what you do is you take it in a setting that is safe, or at least safe enough. You have a friend that you trust that isn't going to try to make things weirder for you, and they're going to help you throughout the experience if things potentially do get difficult. Um, and is going to look out for you as well. Someone's actually responsible. And then you experience it, and then you can kind of weigh out maybe like, wow, this tab wrecked me. Holy, that was an experience for however long. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's maybe not do that. Yeah, and then you can at least kind of figure out something accordingly from there. But don't ever put yourself into a situation where mentally you're going to be having to deal with like a psychedelic experience where your mind is shifting through different states of being and whatever else, and you also have to deal with reality in a way that could be not so great. I remember having to go and try to get my mother some mail and also do a little bit of shopping for her one time. But this was sprung up on me right after I took a pretty significant dose of mushrooms. And so I get to the store, I'm coming up on mushrooms, I grab the stuff I need. Alexa, stop. The fuck? I'm out there trying to get some sleep, and what ends up. What the fuck? Sleep? No, I'm out there trying to get my mom's food, trying to get my mom's mail, and I'm waiting in line to get my mom's mail, and I go up to the counter, and I have her little ticket thing. She didn't sign it, and I didn't realize that. My mom called earlier, though, to make sure that I could get it, but she didn't sign it. So I'm coming up on shrooms, and I'm like, oh no, my mom was gonna fight me over this, right? Like, so one of my biggest fears as a child was always walking home. And then as soon as I got home, I'd have to restart that entire journey. Like, to me, that was just something that inherently was like a weird fear. So here I am on mushrooms coming up, mind all melting, right? And literally, this is exactly what has to happen. I have to walk all the way back home. And I'm like, Mom, you don't need me to get this right now, right? She's like, no, I need that. I'm like, no. So I get home. Yeah, sorry. I got home, spoke to my mother. Clearly, I had to go back out. So I go back out. I'm all three gork to the wind. I'm like trying to just keep it together. I get this material thing. I don't know what it was at this point, but that was a surreal experience. It was not great. Um so again, this is where set and setting and making sure that you cross your I's and dot your T's about when you're gonna do these things. Right? Um One time I was about to I was there's a period known as peaking sometimes on mushrooms or other psychedelics, and you're about to like cross through a barrier, right? And I was like right there. I was like you end up hearing this like beautiful noise and you feel this synergy coming together. I was almost right there. And you know what happened? My mother fucking came into my she didn't come into my room, but she walked up to my door and fucking banged on it. And this wasn't a knock. She banged on my door. And that sounds maybe like an exaggeration. It's not. You'd have to know my mother and her ability to change a space. Um, so that was surreal to come down from. But there's been other moments. One of the other moments you can see previously on my channel, or experiencing some extremely beautiful stuff on DMT. My mother's like shouting at me, being like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Oh no, not right now." That one, that wasn't really up to her, but specifically in that case, she didn't hit it right, and it caused some pretty big disparities between our experience and respect of what we were going through, is what I could say. Yeah, so be it. That's fine. Again, it is what it is. Yeah. So this has been a quick rundown of some psychedelic shit. With zero preparation or care or anything. Yeah. Much love, keep it real.